How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, welcome to another video, and welcome to a much anticipated update on the Mustang. So I know a lot of you guys don't really watch the Porsche build, which I understand, it's not the most exciting car yet. I know that I left a lot of you guys with a bit of a cliffhanger since I worked on the Mustang, because last I think I updated you guys about it, it was just leaking and I needed a new windshield. So I got a new windshield. I didn't really vlog about that. I just wanted the car to be fixed, and it wasn't something that I felt needed to be put on the channel. I just went ahead and fixed it. But then I kind of went on a tangent with working on the Porsche because it was just bugging me that I had both of these cars here and one of them just had the engine out of it forever. And part of that was because I didn't have an engine hoist for a while, so I wasn't able to get the engine in. Like, I didn't have access to that sort of tool, but now I do. So I was like, you know what, I need to just go ahead and get this done. So the engine is back in the 944 and it's kind of back in its spot. The roommates and a friend of mine helped me move the car over, and then I got the Mustang back here in the middle of the driveway and I pulled the front bumper off. So I didn't record that either because if you've been following, you've seen me pull this bumper off the car 100 times. I didn't even want to record it because I was like, I'm not gonna watch myself do that again. But you guys haven't missed anything. I've just got the bumper off, and so I want to pick back up where I left off with the turn signals. So I'm sure a lot of you guys will remember a couple months ago I made like this test harness for the new turn signals that I'm installing on here. So obviously this is not a permanent solution. This is literally just like a power and ground for the turn signal just so I could test it out. That's definitely not how it's gonna end up looking, but I don't even have a test harness on the driver's side. It's just the passenger side right now. And the reason why this kind of got put on hold, other than the windshield leaking and having to fix a bunch of water issues, I needed to come up with a way to mount the turn signals on there. And originally, if you guys remember, I was thinking about mounting them onto the bumper. So I made these little like aluminum pillars and I was gonna do a bunch of stuff to get the turn signals mounted on there. But then I decided that I want to mount the whole bumper onto the car in a slightly different way. And I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm kind of overcomplicating things so that way things will simplify. I know that that's like a terrible way to describe that, and maybe for some of you, you'll figure out what I'm doing, but basically, I want the turn signals to be mounted onto the chassis instead of the bumper. Now, even though I'm complicating things, that doesn't mean that I know what I'm doing, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing with this. I'm just kind of going one step at a time and trying to figure out exactly how I want to mount the turn signals on. All I know is that I need to build some sort of bracket that comes off of my crash bar and kind of comes out this way, and then the turn signals are going to mount underneath it. So we're going to get into that today. I've already got like a little prototype, if you will, or just something for mock-up purposes so I can get an idea. I don't think it's oriented properly, but I'll just go ahead and show you guys. So I went ahead and welded this up, and this is just like a bracket that I found at Home Depot that I then cut in half, so that way I could have two, because they look like this. So I went and got two of these, cut one of them in half, so now I have this guy, and I want it to mount onto the crash bar right here. And as you can see, it's a little too wide, so we're gonna have to modify the car a bit too, which is fine. I don't mind cutting things, but I just need to cut a small section off of this crash bar so that way this will fit kind of in there. And then also, I don't think that I welded this in the right spot, like not even remotely close. It's just like kind of tacked on there right now, but I'm thinking that the bar itself needs to come up a little bit, like be a little bit higher, like almost in line with the top of the bracket, and then like more towards this edge. Like I want it to come up, so that way the crash bar is kind of coming along. The bumper sort of sits right in this area, so this will be inside the bumper. It's going to kind of come out, and then the turn signal will mount below it. For reference, this won't be exact. I need to get some measurements, which it's going to be difficult when the bumper's on, but not impossible. Our crash bar kind of comes to somewhere right about here, and then I want that bracket to kind of angle back and be right underneath this section of fiberglass. Because if you look on the inside, our little bracket bar thing will be right about here somewhere, give or take a few inches, and then I'll be able to mount the little brackets for my turn signal and have it be kind of in the rough location. And I need it to be adjustable too, because I don't think that I'm going to be able to get this exact. My little tape measure and angle grinder is not the most accurate tool set ever, so the adjustability will be nice, and I have some more ideas for adjustability, which we'll get to in a minute. But we got lots of brackets, and we may need to build some spacers and whatnot to get the height right, but I think I'm onto the right track. It's straight up sunny and raining. Like, I don't even think you guys can see the raindrops. Look at that, it's raining. And yet I'm sweating, like I'm about to take my jacket off even though it's raining. What the heck? Anyway, I started cutting as you guys saw, so I cut a small section of the foam off. Not too concerned about it, it's all inside the bumper. And then I cut this small little square out of here, and then I figured I could just go ahead and test fit it. So I looked at it like this, and it was like not really lining up that good. And then I thought, well, like, okay, what if I put it on the underside? And when I mount it like this, it sits almost perfectly flush against the crash bar. And then I thought, like, well, as long as I measure everything right, I can probably just weld this straight onto the crash bar. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'd like to not cut this if I don't have to, because that's kind of part of how the crash bar mounts onto the frame rail. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and mount this onto here, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I started taking some measurements, and then the rain got worse. I feel like you can't even really see it on camera. No, you can. I got to thinking that I kind of didn't like that square material. I mean, it works, but I don't have as much adjustment room with the square stuff. And also, the car has this angle, so I was gonna have to cut it at an angle, and it's smaller, so any small angular adjustment you do makes a much bigger difference just because it's so thin. So I went into the house and I found this old piece of like workout equipment. I took the legs off of it, they're right there. I think it was part of like a dip bar or something that my roommate left here when he moved out. So it's mine now. And it's like the perfect piece. It's like got a 90-degree bend of stainless steel. I think it's like 1.5 or 1.75, something like that. And I'm gonna cut it up. All right, I think this is gonna work pretty well. So now I need to head back over to the car, figure out where along this bend I need to cut it, so that way I have like a relatively flat surface to weld to. Just gonna make my life a lot easier. So I'm gonna go measure some stuff real quick, see if I can figure this out. I got a mark. I'm gonna try it. Hopefully I don't screw this up. Alright, so I went ahead and I cut the foam on this side over here. Got the bracket kind of measured. I'm pretty sure they're gonna sit about like this. And that means that that little spline right there where I cut it is gonna be right in line with that little angular part, I guess. So that kind of lines up nicely. I'm pretty happy with that. And I'm really glad I didn't have to cut this back part. Oops. But on this side, I've got the magnet set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld these onto here, and then we'll figure out the exact placement that the tubes need to go in order to be lined up. But yeah, that came out pretty good. It's pretty similar on both sides. Oh, come on, stay up for me. You guys get the idea. Seems like it's lining up pretty well. So we're gonna go ahead and weld those plates on, and we're gonna disconnect the battery before we do that. Highly recommend, if you're welding on a car, just don't forget to disconnect the battery. I can't say for certain that anything bad would happen, but when you weld, you're introducing a lot of current to the system. It's being grounded to the same spot as your battery, so just don't do it. Just disconnect the battery. Alright, so I got those plates welded on, and I just have the little bars mocked up on the jack stands, but holy crap, that's gonna look so cool when it's done. Obviously, most of the time it's gonna be underneath the bumper, but I think this is the most effective way to get the turn signals mounted on there. I know it took me a while to come up with it, but I'm glad I really spent my time thinking about it, because I think this looks way better than the little rectangular bar. I'm gonna go ahead and weld this one into place. I'm pretty sure this one's exactly where it needs to be, and then I'll make sure that that one is identical to that side. And then after that, we'll get the bumper on, make sure that those fit under there without touching, and then we'll figure out the turn signals. So we're getting close, but got a little ways to go. So I got this side welded on. Not my prettiest weld, but I mean, it works. Then I've just spent the last few minutes getting this side all mocked up just to be functionally identical. Obviously it's not going to be perfectly identical, but it's pretty dang close, I'd say. I took a few measurements off of the headlight. I think it's good. So I'm going to go ahead and weld it, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. Alright, I gotta make this quick because I'm slowly running out of daylight, but I got the two extensions welded onto the crash bar. So now I need to figure out how I'm gonna mount these turn signals on here. I was doing a little bit of test fitting, and it looks like I'm gonna have to chop this top little mount thing or whatever that is. The turn signal has to go right about here, more or less, like somewhere right around here, but it has to be higher. It needs to be like right up against this, and for it to be forward enough, it needs to not have that little piece. That's not really a big deal because I guess I don't need it. I can use the one on the left and the right. And then I still need to figure out a way to make it adjustable front to back and maybe even left to right. So yeah, maybe I didn't think this through entirely, but I'm just gonna have to think of something. Alright guys, so it's now day 2 of this process, and it's a little bit later in the day, but I've been working on this all day, just kind of getting things ready because I just had to make some clearance things happen with the turn signals, and it just wasn't like the most interesting thing to show, so I'm just going to update you guys real quick. So basically, as you guys already saw, we got the crash bars welded on. So I was just doing some test fitting, and I got a little section cut out on each side of these so that way the turn signal fits, because those bars are a little bit bigger than the square bars that I was originally planning for, so there's just a small section to make a little bit of clearance for the turn signal to fit right there. But I've already done a bit of test fitting, and it's gonna fit in the location that I want it to be in. So the next step is just gonna be figuring out how I'm gonna mock the turn signals up, so that way I can fabricate some brackets to hold them in place. And I think I'm just gonna use like tape or something. I don't know. I'll show you guys my idea here in a second. Hopefully it works. I'm going to try to move the bumper. And it fell immediately. Oh my gosh. Alright, so this is the latest and greatest in the Kaidan Odom bracket technology. I took one of those angled brackets and I made them straight because they need to be taller, and I don't know exactly what shape these are going to need to be when they go onto the round part. So I made a few of these. I need 4 because each turn signal has 2 points that I'm going to mount them to. One right there, another one right there. I already went ahead and tapped some threads into these so that way the bolts that I got for them will work. So the idea is a bolt and a washer will go through the hole on the end of these. Some of them have holes higher up than others. I think the ones on the inside, like closer to the grill, will use the one that has the hole further down. So for starters, I'm going to figure out the shape that these need to be. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. I just need to get the turn signal in place, figure out where these need to go, and then I will attach them to the turn signals and maybe like tape them in place and then weld them just to make sure that they're perfect. Either that or I'll trace them with something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, it's going to take a while.
Day 3.
Alright, so we're hopping into day 3 of this process. I ran into some issues which I'm going to explain to you guys, but I think I've come up with a solution. I really hope. It's a lot. Okay, so the problem I'm having with getting the turn signal fit in place is that I kind of just don't have enough hands. When I have this in there and lined up, I'm able to get it in the right spot, but I'm having a hard time getting the turn signal to stay in place so that way I can make some marks. I can't get my welder in there to tack the brackets that I've built into place. I've got these in like almost the exact shape that they need to be, so that bolt will go through the hole down there and it'll attach to this bracket. So this needs to attach to my little bar that I've welded, but it's just kind of tough to make sure that everything is lining up. And so I have a few ideas. My first idea is to use this ratchet strap to hold the turn signal in place, because I think it's thin enough to where the fitment with the bumper will be close enough to where it won't really matter, and I can always add a little bit of fiberglass to the bumper to make it fit, you know. I'm not sure if this is my favorite idea. My other option is to just super glue the bracket in place. So I'll get everything lined up, reach in there with the super glue and tack it with super glue so that way I can remove the turn signal and then tack weld it. This might be the best option, or maybe a combination of the two. I'm not really sure. I wish that I could remove the headlight so that way I could get everything in place, but the problem is that the bumper has to have the headlight on to fit in the place where it needs to go, because the bumper has this little ledge, and of course that is attached to the headlight. So that's just fantastic, and there's not really much other choice. So maybe I'll try the ratchet strap. I think for starters I'm gonna go with the super glue. So I'm gonna get everything in place, reach in there with super glue to get this little bracket in the place that it needs to be, and then I'll pull it all apart, and at that point I can take the headlight out as well. And hopefully this will stay in the exact spot where I super glued it, which it should if I put enough super glue, and I can just tack weld it. Pretty weird situation, kind of annoying. I think the biggest hiccup is that the headlight has to be in place, because if I could just remove the whole headlight, then I could just reach in there with my hand and it would be easy. But of course, nothing is ever that simple, but I think my solution should work, and I'm gonna give it a shot. Alright, so this is kind of a nightmare. I literally couldn't get the super glue canister upside down to like get it onto the part that I needed it to be on. It's hard to explain. I wish you guys could see in there. There's just like no wiggle room right behind the headlight here for me to do anything. And then of course the ratchet strap idea was like kind of working at first, but I can't get it tight enough around the headlight or the turn signal for it to stay in the place that it needs to be, because it has to be like forward. So all that to say, I think my last step is gonna be to just line up the bumper with the fender and then just like take the headlight out, so that way I have a little bit more space. Maybe this was obvious, but I wanted the bumper to be lined up perfectly with all the different points, so that way the turn signals are guaranteed to be in the right spot. But it looks like I'm gonna have to make a sacrifice, and that to me is gonna be removing the headlight. I know it probably seems weird on video, because it's like, why don't you just do this? Maybe some of you are thinking of something that I'm not, but I can only do so much by myself. So I'm just gonna remove the headlight, and then hopefully I'll have enough room in there to tack the turn signal brackets into place. I should. With the headlight out of the way, I should be able to just reach in there. It's just kind of a hassle trying to do everything all at once, and if I had a lift or something, you know, I could have the car up in the air in front of my face, but I can't, so this is the best I can do. I have made these bolts very hard to get to. Super glue kind of pisses me off. You know what? It's too risky. I could maybe do it myself, but if I have Colby here, I know it'll be perfect. Shoot, I just accidentally FaceTimed Jason. Oh no, he's gonna try calling me back while I'm trying to talk to Colby. Come on, Colby, answer. Oh my God, he's really gonna make me walk inside. Colby! Oh my God.
What's up?
Can you help me with something?
I'm on the phone.
You're on the phone?
Yeah, with my mother.
Oh no, he's on the phone with his mom.
I'll be down there.
How long?
Do you need me like right now?
Yeah, it's not like the end of the world, but like,
Yeah, I got you.
I can wait, but.
Okay, I'll be down there in a minute.
Okay.
I got you.
All right, we gotta wait for him to get off the phone with his mom. Can someone please help me?
Why are you so annoying? We literally hate you.
Why?
Because you're annoying.
What did I do?
Fuck off.
I'm just trying to make my car work.
Give permission for my face to be on camera.
Too bad.
I'm calling the cops.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna call the cops.
Did you puke out the window? What's on the door?
Your car is trespassing onto onto our driveway.
You're a bum.
We're gonna take spray
What is
paint.
that? Bullshit.
Oh, it's just. Chill.
I'm very confused as to what you're doing right now.
I can't even begin to explain it to you, so don't worry. It won't stick. It's literally just sticking to me. There's just hella super glue. Dude, this is becoming.
You try sanding it?
I should have started with that. Super glue should stick to like
It should.
pretty much anything. I can't weld it.
You're not gluing this. You're gluing a bracket that's holding this?
Yes.
Can you get this out of here?
Well, then I don't know where the bracket.
No, what I
needs
meant
to go.
was,
I
can you get it out of
mark
there once you glue the bracket down?
Yeah, because I can pull the bumper
I was
off.
like,
That's
concerned about the tape.
The whole reason the bumper has to be here is so I have a reference point of where the turn signal needs to go. So that it's like a domino effect. The bumper has to be here so that way the turn signal's sitting like close to the spot where it needs to go. I built the bracket. The bracket is like shaped like a question mark because it goes around the crash bar that's in there.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get that little bracket to stick to the crash bar so that way I can take the bumper off and then take the turn signal off of the bracket and then weld the bracket to the bar.
Your car's a Lego.
It's really starting to get on my nerves, dude. Like, I think my next step is gonna be try to just reach in there and weld it somehow.
All this, you can say built, not bought.
Yeah, pretty much. You can't buy this. Like, what? This is all custom. I talked with Joey for a little bit and he gave me some ideas, but I'm gonna go ahead and kind of wrap things up here. I wanted to get the turn signals mounted on completely in today's video, but I just need a little bit more time to think about stuff and I've just been kind of beating a dead horse for like 3 days now. I'm gonna leave this somewhat open-ended. If you guys have an idea of how to mount the turn signal on there in an efficient way, just let me know. Currently, I'm thinking that getting like a little clamp that wraps around this and making a turn signal out of that might be the best bet, so that way I can already have it on there. Then when I put the turn signal in place, it'll be like close and then I can just kind of adjust it a little bit. But comment down below, let me know what you guys think. I'm a little bit brain dead after this. I've been trying to think of something new and my ingenuity levels are kind of low, so just comment down below, give me some suggestions because I'm kind of lost right now, a little bit stuck. Are all of you doing homework right now?
Yeah.
Let's see the assignment. Say hi to the boys, Riley. She's not in the mood. The theme of today's video is that everyone is sick of my shit. We got anything good in here? No.
Fuck.
I don't have to bleep that out. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself for not finishing the project in today's video, but the video was just getting kind of long and I decided that I was just gonna split it into the next one. So I'm just gonna go all out because the only thing left to do is just like take the wheels off and jack it up and take the fender liners out and everything. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. If you like today's video, make sure you leave a like down below. Subscribe for more car content, especially if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.